West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Goldberg, Goldberg, Goldberg. We have to start with Goldberg because we haven't worked out the West Indies equivalent yet. But what we do know is this. West Indies are 5-0. Who can stop us? Who's next? The streak, Santokie, is still alive. I'm one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, and with me is everyone's my partner in crime, Santokie. Thank you, Lendron. Santokie, how you doing?
Yeah, Mash. The streak is up. It's alive. It's kicking off. I can't see anyone topping it. I mean, the authorities, they tried to stop us by, scheduling a ridiculous schedule, giving us jet lag. West Indies said, bun that, even with no sleep, we'll beat New Zealand. Throw anyone at us. Roston Chase out here, the man them leading it. Unbelievable streak. But in all seriousness, Mash, as much as what do you call it, we can say these are bilaterals. We've had 5 wins on the bounce. 4 of them have come away, right? 3 in Bangladesh and 1 in New Zealand today. Obviously, we'll get into it. Today wasn't a match of the highest quality. I don't think many people will remember it in years gone by. But all things considered, considering how poor we were in T20s earlier this year, it's been a remarkable turnaround by Darren Sammy and his men.
Yeah, most definitely. And if I just read out some stats for people, I tweeted it earlier on. So West Indies T20 record now reads as follows. And ultimately, people can pick whichever one of these 4 stats that they want to pick. But these are just the facts. We've won 9 from our last 29 T20 internationals. We've won 5 from our last 7, 6 from our last 10, or 5 in a row. Now, I think dependent on narrative, Santokie, for certain people, they'll pick the stats that stand out from those particular narrative, whatever narrative they want to go for. I think you and I will just basically say, listen, we're West Indies. We can't afford to focus on what we were doing in the past. It's what we're doing now. And right now, we've won 5 on the spin, 3 away in Bangladesh. And actually, Santokie, we didn't even say it at the top. This was our first ever win in New Zealand. I know there's that super over win, but this was our first ever proper T20 win in New Zealand. So whoever wants to poo-poo the victory and talk about this and talk about that, arguably they created history today. So we have to rate it.
Yeah, Darren Sammy era, one day in New Zealand, and we're already doing better than we did in 2020 when we lost every match. So as you said, we have to give them credit. It's a quick turnaround. Second match is tomorrow, so hopefully West Indies can keep that momentum up. But let's sort of start with the West Indies innings, Mash, because it was a batting pitch. It seemed like a batting friendly pitch. We were helped by New Zealand being poor in the field, uncharacteristically dropping a few chances. But 164 for 6 obviously was led by Hope's 53. Rovman came at the end with a supporting 33 of 23. But overall, Mash, when that innings finished, I felt it was under par, about 20, 30 runs under par on the pitch.
100%. And this is why it's we started at the top by saying great win. And it's everything that Santokie and I go on to say does not undermine the fact that it was a very good win and that we should celebrate it. But we also have to be realistic. I mean, I was up from 6:15 watching every single ball, right, of that particular innings, right? And at the halfway stage, I said New Zealand should chase this quite easily in 17 overs. And not because I didn't rate West Indies, but because, like Rovman Powell said when he was on the mic, I was like, this surely isn't par. The par score at Eden Park is 200, right? And we were struggling. In fact, Santokie, in the early doors of that innings, we looked exactly what we were, which was a team that had only landed 48 hours earlier, had only had 1 net session. We looked lethargic. And that's not a criticism of the players. I think that's just natural. What happens when you land in another country and your body's, and not just another country, literally another complete another time zone, and you're trying to acclimatize them. King struggled with the pace. Even Hope was top scorer, and even he struggled up early on, trying to time the ball, the pace, the bounce, the seam movement, complete polar opposite of what went on in Bangladesh. Chase scored 28 from 26. People were cussing him, saying that's a match-losing innings. Or Geese looked completely out of his element and out of his depth, which isn't his fault. It's a Ute man. So we we scrambled our way to 164 for 6. And actually, Santokie, tell a lie, those last 2 fours from Romario Shepherd might have been the key to winning back. Because Shepherd hit back-to-back fours off the final 2 balls, and we ended up winning by 7 runs. So those 2 fours from Shepherd were critical, actually, in the grand scheme of things. So I don't want to. It was under par. I don't want to be critical because the context is but we'd only just landed. So usually for a West Indies team, our first game on tour is basically a washout because we're trying to get to grips with pitches and acclimatizing and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's where do you stand on it? Like, where do you juggle it between under par versus actually, given the context, it was all right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the same. I was thinking, given the context, the fact we just landed, no preparation, going from Bangladesh to New Zealand, opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of conditions. It was one of those where I think Sammy would, in actual fact, that might have helped them. I don't think Sammy would have put pressure on them. It's a five match series. He would have been like, go out there and do your best, because there's only so much you can do with 2 days preparation after it's a 16-hour flight from Bangladesh to New Zealand. So it's not like a quick trip.
And bear in mind, because sometimes you hear flight times and people think that's just it. That's still the 3 hours check-in foolishness, either 3 hours checking in, traveling to the airport, traveling to Auckland. So when you add it all in, I reckon we lost a whole day. We lost a whole day to get to New Zealand.
A whole day, definitely, because I don't even think you can go. I don't think that you can go direct from Bangladesh.
No, you can't.
They would have been a stopover.
They went Chattogram to Dhaka. So they went straight from Dhaka to Auckland, but it was still a stopover in Dhaka to then go to Chattogram.
But wait, hold on. Finance is down bad, man. Were they in economy class or business class? That would have.
I don't know. I don't know.
I said 24 hours in economy class. If they were in economy class, and they won this match today, give them the whole series, man. Give them the World Cup. But Mash, also, it points to the fact this is still the lowest ever defended total in a T20 match at in Auckland on that pitch. So it kind of speaks to sort of what West Indies achieved. And to be honest, when New Zealand came out to bat, Tim Robinson and Conway started off, a few boundaries here and there. I just thought it'd be a one of the mill sort of chase from New Zealand. But in actual fact, as you put on social media, it was down bad. New Zealand were doing their best West Indies impression out here. Down bad, atrocious batting from New Zealand. And they sort of capitulated right until the end when Machel and Santokie came out, catfished everyone because the man come out looking tired, like he was fixing his glasses, like looking like,
his glasses had steamed up on the pitch, cuz.
The man turned into Viv Richards out here, bro. I think Ford was like something ridiculous, like 9 runs off for 3 overs or something. And then his last over went for 23 runs. Like, Santokie was just smacking everywhere.
Let's talk on that, actually, because I did the T20 preview video basically saying how Matt Sharp is Matthew Ford, because obviously West Indies had put out the press release saying he's completed the return to play in protocols. And I said, what does that mean, though? Is he match ready? Now, in fairness, as you said, Santokie, first 3 overs, swing was on offer. And that's the thing with Matthew Ford. This is what I was trying to say in the video. I think in the video I said Matthew Ford is the best swing bowler in the Caribbean. A couple of people said I don't know what I'm talking about. But what I meant by that, Santokie, was if we are in conditions where the ball obviously swings, Ford is the best option we've got in the power play to take advantage of that. But he's never really been good outside the power play. In the Discord earlier on, can't remember who in the CCP Discord group, they said that Ford reminds them of Sheldon Cottrell, where you have to get his overs done in the power play and just realize that you basically can't bring him back after he's bowled 3 or 4 up front, because that's where he's most effective. So when he came back and Satner was hitting like 6, 4, 4, 4 or whatever, I was like, uh-oh. But what do you do, Santokie? Where's your view on that? Do you persist with trying to make Ford get better in the back end, because he's only 23 years old, or do you treat him like a Sheldon Cottrell and say, boy, just bowl up front and don't come back?
No, I think you got to give him the back end, because I think nobody learns how to be a death bowler, right? Like, nobody's automatically a death bowler, right? It's something you need to learn, you need to pick up. And what better place to do it than bilateral series, right? So you might as well have a go with him at the death, because we lack death bowlers, effective death bowlers. So if Ford, as you said, he's young, so he's still in his development phase. So if he can develop into an effective death bowler through these sort of matches, then all the better for it. If it doesn't pay off, then it doesn't pay off. When it comes to like a World Cup, you can get him to bowl 4 in the trot. But I think now's the time to experiment. It kind of highlighted how much we kind of miss Obed McCoy as well at the death as someone in with pace. So it'd be interesting to see if he comes kind of injury free and comes back into the fold, because he definitely has a role in this side. And Jason Holder as well went for runs, but crucially in that last over to Santner, he bowled the 2 dot balls, which sort of saved us and put the pressure on Santner. So statistically, if you look at Holder, it wasn't his best bowling performance, but when it mattered at the end, he did kind of show his experience. But I guess Mash, it's all up to Starboy Jaden Seals with 3 wickets, and Roston Chase as well, 3 wickets as well. Kind of New Zealand kind of gave away 2 in and over to him, but still Roston Chase picking up the innings, and it seems like he sort of got the golden touch across all formats, Roston Chase, Mash.
Yeah, listen, he's like I said in whether it was a watch along this morning, Discworld, can't remember where I said it, or maybe I've said it in past episodes. Whether people like or don't like Roston Chase, what is very clear is there is no better relief option in the Caribbean than Roston Chase. You basically know with Chase, right, someone has bowled badly, Chase can bowl the rest of their overs. West Indies have collapsed, Chase will go at a strike rate of 112 or something like that. Yeah. It's not, none of that's perfect, but no one else can do it, which basically means Chase is undroppable. And we're not asking Roston Chase to come good in both suits. If he comes good in one of his 2, usually that means he's made a really good impact on the match. And the reality with Chase is he normally comes through on at least one of them. Like every now and again, we'll get a game where he hits like, I don't know, 45 of 22 balls, but I don't think we should ever be expecting Chase to do that. We just have to look at Chase in the context of this guy is a perfect relief option, and one of his 2 suits is likely to come off because of that, and we just have to rate and respect him for it. But and obviously Jaden Seals with the 3 wickets at the end, taking 2 at the back end, Kyle Jamieson and Bracewell actually in the middle. Yeah. But where I didn't. Some of the dismissals, Santokie, Ravindra was one of them. Mitchell was definitely one of them. Bracewell basically paddled the ball for Hope to just catch easily. Folks was another just high up in the air to chase. There was a lot of dismissals today, even on the West Indies side as well, where it's almost like collectively, it was actually a bit of a down bad game, Santokie, because collectively, batters were trying to hit balls on the up. There was a lot of cross bat shots. There was a lot of, this is T20, so I'm going to be inventive shots and getting bowled down or just doing bat up and catch. So where do you stand, particularly with New Zealand, because so many of their wickets that they gave away in the middle were just horrific dismissals. Where do you stand on brilliant West Indies have won versus that was actually quite crap from New Zealand as well? Like, obviously we're taking the W. But where do you stand on that was crap from New Zealand?
Yeah, I think we got to celebrate the win, but also I think we need some perspective on the significance of the win. Obviously, we were missing a few players. Shafane Rutherford was ruled out with illness before the game. Obviously, Evan Lewis isn't here. New Zealand were essentially missing their whole first-choice bowling lineup. Like, if you look, I think it's, what's his name? Matt Henry, Lockie Ferguson. There was like about 4 pacers which would normally get into the side. So it wasn't a full-strength New Zealand side. But as you said, normally I'd expect the batting to come good, right? You got Conway, Ratchin, Ravindra, Daryl Mitchell. But yeah, it just felt like they were experimenting. And Daryl Mitchell in particular, he just swung at the ball. And as soon as he swung on it, he just walked off. Like, that was it. Like, he knew he was out. It was just kind of like, it felt very like there wasn't much energy behind it. Again, who was the one that down bad shots?
Avanesh is in the cut. So we have to so Avanesh is in the cut, so we have to take it on board now. For people, but listen, this is good.
Avanesh is still at the ground, you know. He's
Avanesh has the laptop open, ready to swing something at us.
Wait, hold on. It's like 5 a.m. in New Zealand.
Listen, Avanesh is allow Avanesh. He's got to celebrate. Either he's watching back the highlights from today's game, getting ready for the next one, or he's celebrating. And who can blame him? But we have to. I actually think we have to. Actually, Avanesh has said it's jet lag, so I can't even blame him. You see, I'm glad Avanesh said jet lag, because this is serious, people. When we were saying, boy, West Indies are going to struggle to adapt on game 1. So for those of you who are in the live right now, big up Avanesh for commenting. So Avanesh, for those who don't know, obviously West Indies analyst. So Avinash says the down bad shots is an unfair statement and fair. We've got to take it on the board. He's there. We aren't. It was a very small ground, especially straight boundaries. He followed it up by saying, so the Kiwi batters were trying to access those. So I think the counterpoint there, and this is why I'm saying, where do we stand on it, Santokie? So reading between the lines of Avinash's statement, I think the counterpoint here is that West Indies bowled disciplined lines, which meant that New Zealand were trying to, because I think it was only 60 meters either side of the wicket. The only part of the grounds which were long were like the mid-wicket regions on either side. So I think Avinash's point is here that West Indies were bowling disciplined lines, which meant that the Kiwi batters were trying to access the smaller sides of the ground, and hence why so many went up in the air. Yeah. I don't know. That's what I'm assuming without speaking to him directly.
I think we definitely saw that. Was it the opener Robinson? He pulled it off with that at the beginning, but then obviously he fell as well. But was it Conway that got bowled by Matthew Ford? That was a good delivery for Ford. Really, so it wasn't like the whole top order gave away their wickets. There was some sort of consistency, like you said, line and length with the West Indies bowlers. And just going back to what you said, Mash, I think even with Avinash supporting it, the jet lag is, as much as people will say it's athletes, right? So you have to get over it. You're getting paid to do it. Anyone who gets a long flight, like if you ever got a flight over 12 hours, when you land, you literally don't know where you are. Like you don't know what you're doing. Like, and so it normally takes 2-3 days to get your bearings back. So for you to have to perform in a high performance international match within less than 48 hours of landing is mad. But it is the schedule. It is what it is. So as I said, that's more credit in the bank for West Indies to kind of overcome that against the New Zealand side, who were based in New Zealand. Obviously, they just played England, so they were obviously acclimatized, ready, no jet lag and stuff like that. So New Zealand had a massive advantage going into this match, and sort of West Indies sort of pulled it off. But as I said, there's 5 matches in this series. No time for rest. Next one is tomorrow, so same time again, 6:15 a.m. in the UK. Mash, do you foresee any? Actually, before we get into that, Akil Hussain as well only bowled 1 over.
Oh, that's a good talking point, you know. So, that's a really good talking point. So what people are saying to me. So when I was doing the watch along, people were saying to me, "But Mash, West Indies have to be careful when they put Akil in, because I think New Zealand had 6 left-handers in their top order or something. Hence why Roston bowled. Probably why Roston, as the off spinner, bowled his full allocation, right? Obviously, Akil then came on and got Ravindra anyway in his first over. So there's a question mark for me around, and this is why I asked you that question about Matthew Ford and developing at the back end, right? Because they could have bowled Akil. They had the option to bowl Akil for a second and not bring Matthew Ford back for a final one. I mean, this is Akil Hussain. He's basically number 1, number 2 T20 bowler in the world. So left-handers or no left-handers, he's still Akil Hussain, right? And again, this probably looks like hindsight, etc. But I guess just getting your views on that, make Akil, because New Zealand will still have left-handers tomorrow, right, in the next game. So Akil bowl more than 1, play the matchups game, or continue to develop forward by making him bowl his 4.
I would develop forward, you know. I think it's also partly because it might also be because, as you said, Akil's the number 1 spinner, so he's in the side. But he bowled a lot of overs in Bangladesh, right? ODIs, T20. So it might just be to kind of let someone else develop in this series. And as I said, because it's 5 matches, I'm sure maybe the 3rd or 4th game we'll see Akil bowl his full quota. But I think while you've kind of got the conditions that would suit Matthew Ford, and he's a young player, you sort of go with that because it's going to build his confidence. I think Akil's Akil. He's the number 1, right? So we know pretty much any ground Akil's going to, you know, at least reduce the runs, lower the runs down, or he's going to take wickets. We know what he can do. Matthew Ford, it's a rare opportunity, especially bearing in mind he's come off injury, right? So he hasn't played a lot of cricket. He's played no cricket in the last 4 months. So Hope is built differently. Since June, I doubt any cricketer has played more cricket than Shai Hope. Man is playing competitive cricket. That's also a good talking point, the one we might have to sort of analyse further on. But Hope obviously playing all 3 formats, captaining. We've seen in Test cricket, he wasn't wicket keeping in the second Test against India, so they're obviously trying to reduce that workload. But Hope has taken a massive workload.
I'm glad Michel's made this point though, Santokie, because when I was on our Twitter account about half an hour before we went live, somebody, I think West Indies actually had posted a picture of Hope. He must have done something in today's game, 5,000 runs or something. He'd done something, and I don't know why, but a picture. Sorry, as I looked at the picture, something occurred to me. Do you think we take Shai Hope for granted in West Indies cricket? Now, hear me out. he's probably right now our best T20 player. And I'm not just saying that based on recency bias. If you study the numbers, strike rate, his strike rate evolution, and sheer numbers over the last year of T20 cricket, I think there is a clear argument to say he is actually our best T20 batter, right? He's obviously our best and a world beater in ODI cricket. He's currently going through a test match renaissance. Do you think this generation, because West Indies as a collective struggle, do you think we take Hope for granted? Because technically, Hope's a generational player. And we kind of just take what he does for granted without recognizing that he's doing generational stuff. Or am I over-egging it?
I think the problem is, right, he's never... So let's take 50 over cricket, right? The man was averaging, 51, 52 year on year on year. But then he didn't play in the World Cup. He didn't play in the 2023 World Cup. So there's no platform to highlight. To be a generational talent, right? So the reason why we think of, a Narayan, a Pollard, a Chris Gale as sort of generational T20 players, as West Indians, it's because of what they did at the World Cup, right? They won the World Cup. So Shai Hope's never had that platform to kind of show his talent. When he has been scoring runs, it's been, in low-level bilateral series, which not many people other than West Indians and the opposition fans are really watching. So he has definitely gone under the radar. And I think, especially in 50 over cricket, we've taken it for granted that Hope is going to anchor the innings, right? And if Hope's going to hit a big score to take us there. T20 cricket, I think, is partly because of his style, right? It's an unassuming style of play. He's not a big hitter. He's sort of like a Kane Williamson, right? Kane Williamson or like a Joe Root in T20 cricket. He's not a flashy T20 cricket player, which people want to see. So I think in T20 cricket, he definitely goes under the radar just because people want to see big hits.
His T20 shots are almost classical cricket shots. You don't associate Hope with reinventing shots. Because he's just such a good batter, he just plays good cricket shots, which happen to go for six.
Yeah, he plays good. That's what I mean. He's like Kane Williamson. He's very good with his wrists, and he almost plays like aesthetically. He looks like he's playing Test cricket when he's hitting the shots, right? But he hits it hard against the sixes. But I just think it's in T20 cricket, unless you're doing big sixes, launching big sixes as a batter, no one's really going to rate you like that globally, kind of thing. People want to see the big hits in T20 cricket. So I think it's partly his style of play factored in with sort of the opposition and the level. He hasn't really done anything in a World Cup really, because the T20 World Cup in the Caribbean, he came in for the group stage, the Super 8s, right, or whatever.
I hear you.
Yeah, I think that's partly it. But for tomorrow, Mash, obviously the second T20 is tomorrow. Do you just see, because of the short turnaround and the fact we won, do you think it'll be an unchanged 11, or are you bringing in someone else, Shamar Springer or something?
Well, they said the team that was announced before the match, they said Rutherford is out because of illness. And so you take that at face value, right? And you assume that means that if he wasn't ill, he was going to play, right? So if Rutherford isn't ill tomorrow, does that mean he replaces Akeem Orgeese, for example? I don't know. I don't know, but certainly I think there'll be some scrutiny from some of the West Indian fans over King's spot, and obviously Rutherford, illness or not ill, people would have had scrutiny over his spot. There's 5 games, so I think your focus has to be on, let's actually just try win the series. First things first. And then at game 4 and game 5, dependent on how the series is matching up, is when you start to make some changes, if you can, I guess, if you see what I mean. Like how many times in our lifetime are we going to see West Indies go 1-0 up away from home against someone like New Zealand and give us an unprecedented chance of winning a series? Like, we only need to win 2 of the next 4. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of have to take that seriously and keep going hard at it.
Yeah, it's true. You can't, unless we go 3-0 up, you can't really risk experimenting unless you're just saying the results aren't as important as getting the players' development. But it's good signs, We're only, but I think because the draw hasn't been made right, it's kind of gone under the radar. We're basically 3 months away. Exactly. I think it starts 7th of February, the T20 World Cup. So we're literally on the cusp of a T20 World Cup.
100%. It's literally it's a lot closer. It's a lot closer than people think. Listen, people, we've gone over our 20-minute limit. These on the day shows aren't supposed to be that long. The final thing I will just add before we go, and you can all get in the comments below and argue about it, but a couple of shows ago, I can't remember if it was after one of the Bangladesh games. Santokie and I were talking about the similarities between Darren Sammy's trust the process and Ruben Amarin's I'm not changing my formation, trust the process. Since we...
Oh, and Mash has frozen. Mash out here talking about Man United and out here frozen. So, guys, unless Mash magically reappears, we'll end the episode there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We're on Instagram, X, TikTok, Blue Sky, Facebook. Follow the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, #1 podcast. We'll try and do a daily review show for all 5 T20 matches. Hopefully Mash restores his internet out here, man. He needs to pay his internet bills, but Mash is frozen. So thank you all. There won't be I don't think I've got the technological skills to do an outro, so I'll just cut off there. You'll just see me cut off there unless Mash magically reappears in the next 10 seconds or so. So thank you. We'll see you tomorrow, probably about the same time. So 4 o'clock UK time, midday in the Caribbean. And Mash is definitely... Mash down bad. Mash did a live stream this morning, 4 hours. Must have bust up his internet, internet gone for the day. So thank you all. We'll see you very soon. Take care. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. We'll see you.
Cha. I am back. Wait, hold on. Where's Santokie gone? Right, Santokie just... Wait, hold on. Let me go. Wait. Hold on. What's going... Am I still... Is it still live? What's going on, people? Someone let me know in the comments. Is this still live or has Santokie locked it off? Wait, Santokie... I don't even know. Listen, Caribbean Cricket Podcast will stay unprofessional till the end. As if I've come back and Santokie's just ducked out. Come back to an empty screen. Santokie has gone. I don't even know who's internet just mashed up there. I think it was mine still, Anyways, I don't know what just happened there, people, but let me just finish the point. Let me just finish the point for the live. What I was saying... Where's Santokie, cuss? Let me text this guy and ask him where he's gone. As if listen, people, last thing from me before we go. A few shows ago, I made the point that Manchester United fans had already written off Ruben Amorim and were cussing every time Manchester United don't win. Cuss. And I said, I don't know if you remember that I said how similar are Sammy and Ruben Amorim, where we live in a social media age where every single defeat is treated like it's 10 defeats in a row, and the people lose all sense of balance and all sense of context because everybody's got to have rage, everybody's got to react, everybody's got to say something, and nobody can just shut the F up and let the process play out. Anyways, that was said before Manchester United just went on their 4-5 match unbeaten run, which took them in, I think they're currently like 6th or 7th in the Premier League at the moment. And this is why I always say to people about Darren Sammy, sometimes you just have to let things marinate. Sometimes you just did anyone foresee 5 wins in a row coming? Sometimes you just have to cool off and just let the process play out. Now, I think if you watch my Darren Sammy episode from 2 weeks ago, I already said what my metric is for Darren Sammy in terms of what I expect to see in tests, what I expect to see in ODIs, what I expect to see in T20s. And most of my stuff is looking ahead to 2026 and 2027. Sometimes you just have to cool off. You just have to cool off and stop looking to do clickbait and stop looking to over-egg situations and just let things play out. Let things play out. All the while people are panicking about T20 form, Now look, 5 wins in a row and we're on a streak. Anyways, let me wrap up the show and find out where Santokie went. I've been Machel St. Patrick, one half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. You done know already. Like, share, subscribe. We'll be back same time tomorrow. If you weren't able to join the watch along yesterday, join us tomorrow. I'm doing another watch along for game 2, 6:15 a.m. start in the UK. What's that, like 1:15 in Jamaica for those who've got internet on the east side of the island. remember, people, if you can give a little bit and help towards. Wait, hold on, Santokie's back. What's going on? Anyways, if you can give a little bit and help towards that, let me just put it up on the screen before we go. So supportjamaica.gov.jm if you've got any little bits spare and loose to help the rebuild and recovery. It's going to be a long process to get back to where we were as a nation. So live watch along tomorrow. Santokie and I will be back tomorrow to debrief on the game as well. So look out for that. I'll be Machel and Santokie, who won half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Sorry. And thank you to Dark Knight, who did a super chat. He says Nepal is coming to WrestleMania against West Indies. Okay. What's that, World Cup final? Yeah, we'll look forward to that. And Rising Bowler says, why did Santokie have the Bobby Brown headset? Well, I don't even know where Santokie's gone. But we shall be back tomorrow, nevertheless. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you know when we are back and going live, etc. I'll be Machel and Santokie, who won half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. See you all very, very soon.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.